Hey, y'all. Welcome to the Champagne Wives podcast. I'm your host, Kelly.
And I'm your co-host, Nicole. Hey, guys.
Bottoms up. Bottoms up. Bottoms up.
Let me see. Yeah. For that time we saw Trey Songz at Joey's.
Oh, yeah, I do.
It was funny.
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, hey, how are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Let's just jump into it. Okay.
Let's.
So the solar eclipse was today.
Mm-hmm.
And the eclipse has been eclipsing in my life.
Yeah.
Major.
Mm-hmm.
I have been feeling the effects.
Yeah.
And so, well, I opened up TikTok like a week ago.
Okay. And TikTok we trust.
And TikTok, I definitely trust. Like, that's me and TikTok go hard.
Mm-hmm.
If they paying that bitch, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Anyway, so it was saying like the eclipse is coming. That kind of like put me on to the eclipse because I didn't know the eclipse was really happening.
Oh.
And well, I knew it was happening, but I didn't know when.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I pulled that video up and they're like, yeah, the eclipse is coming.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, buckle in because the first 2 weeks of April are going to be like just really difficult, like just really hard. But if you stick
for your sign,
just in general.
Okay.
They're just
for
speaking
all
in
12
general.
zodiac
Because when
signs.
you look at like the signs that they're saying are really impacted by the eclipse, it's like Aries, Cancer. It's not my sign.
The cardinal sign.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So that has nothing to do with me. But I'm still feeling it. So but it was for Virgos.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was for Virgos.
Oh, this particular
reel that I saw.
Okay.
And it was just like, just buckle up because it's going to be like a really difficult 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
like really hard 2 weeks. But on the other side of like the 2 weeks, like it's going to be amazing. The end of April is going to be great. It's going to be like awakening. Like it'll be great. So I'm on my second week.
You're on week 2. Today starts week 2. Are you buckled up tight?
I got today starts week 2.
Mm-hmm.
And my seatbelt is, I got the crossbody and the lap seatbelt. Because, baby, I'm like, God damn.
I mean,
but I'm waiting.
Right.
I'm waiting for the end of this eclipse season to see what my new alignment and my awakening and my my new blessings and luck are going to be.
Yeah. Yes. Virgo. I mean, you know me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I said everything. So I'm like, what does this mean? You have me into astrology. I never really was into it.
Right.
But it really sometimes like it is just like it speaks to like where you at in life. Like it explains a lot about like what you're going through.
It does. And we've said this before. At the end of the day, we're Christian. We both believe in Jesus Christ and believe that he's our Lord and Savior, right?
Yeah.
That said, there is this planetary thing, right, that is going on that does affect how we move, how we interact, how we're feeling, and it's much bigger than us.
Yeah.
And I believe at the end of the day, God has a hand in that as well. My personal belief.
I agree because like how can all people with like a sign have like similar traits, like Virgos, like Tauruses? Like how can like all these people who are born in like the same span, right? Horoscope span have like the same qualities. It's really when you think about like all the people on the planet and like how everybody could just be completely different.
Right.
But it's so crazy that like if you were born in a certain time of the year, you have like certain characteristics or personality traits.
And traits, right.
Yeah, that align with other people who were born during the same time span as you. It's really crazy when you sit back and think about it.
It is. And there's variations to it, right? Like not every Virgo is exactly the same. So we're smart enough to know that we don't just paint all Virgos with the broad brush or all
right.
Or all Tauruses. But for the most part, absolutely. There are certain characteristics that are consistent, and then the variation comes in your moon sign and your rising sign. And that's what makes us unique in that regard. So it's fun to learn. And as we have texted back and forth before, because when we had met, I had talked to her a lot about it. And then she would look at me.
like get that juju away from me. Okay.
Get it out of here, that witchcraft. And I'm like,
the Lord is my personal
sage in me. But, I think at the end of the day, it's like we use it to understand what's coming and what's on the horizon. And we modify our behaviors to not let what is happening celestially get the best of us.
Yeah. What I realize is that it gives you hope. Like, it also helps you to like maybe put context to what it is that you're feeling, right? In your emotions. Because a lot of the times the shit will just kind of hit you out of nowhere. And you'll be like, why am I what the fuck is happening? How did I get here? You know? And then
you realize it's a Mercury retrograde.
It's a fucking solar eclipse. Okay. Well,
that explains it. That explains it. Yeah. So it's an interesting time. Yeah. We're in the midst of eclipse season, and thank God it's hitting the cardinal signs, because the last major eclipse season that we had hit the fixed signs: Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius. And to say we went through the ringer is an understatement.
Why am I going through the ringer with this? What is there like some underlining sign? What is this, fixed sign?
No, you're a mutable sign as a Virgo, but you have fixed signs in your moon and rising. Okay. So you would have really gone through it with me last year. You did. Side by side. But yeah, no, this is a challenging time, I think, for all the signs, and it's going to get better. Yeah. Eclipse season is always a challenge, but what I'd say educated astrologers will tell you, and just know that there's a lot of different types of astrologers. There's like, the TikTok ones, and then the real ones. The real ones. But what they'll tell you is there's no reason to be afraid of an eclipse season. Eclipses really represent rebirths, and it's an opportunity to shed the old and to embrace the new. Yeah. And so if you can think about it that way, and I think about the process of birth, for those of us that have given birth to children, and those poor babies go through hell to get through the birth canal, but when they come out, it's like, wow.
They don't even remember going through the
right, exactly, exactly. Same as us, right? Yeah. Like as the mothers who push these babies out, like we don't remember how bad labor was, but all we remember is the fact that these babies are here, and they're just a beautiful blessing in addition to our lives. So really embrace this eclipse season and all that it has to offer. And, I always say, what's the lesson in this struggle? So we're all going through it. We're in it together. Back half of April promises to be a little bit better celestially and astrologically.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I cannot wait.
Yeah. I know we got a lot of other things happening. We got a couple of retrogrades on the horizon.
Look, I'm going to need the solar system to slow down.
I need to chill out.
I need to slow down.
Like chill.
Calm down, please. Let me just catch up. Because baby, I'm looking forward to getting through this week. Because I'm putting my faith in what this astrologist said.
I know.
Getting through this 1 week, and then I expect... my expectations for the rest of April is it's up.
It's up from here.
It's up.
I mean, back half is when we turn up anyway.
It's exactly your birthday.
I got a whole birthday coming.
But on another note, before we put a button, move on from this eclipse conversation, I did not see it. And
the weather here was horrible.
It was horrible, and I'm so upset that it like why?
It was horrible.
Could I have at least seen what has been driving me crazy for the last...
See, is it real?
Can I touch it? Can I take a picture of it? Please. I want to stamp it in my photos for memory purposes. But I cannot see it. It did not go dark. It was already dark because of the clouds.
Yeah, the cloud cover was massive.
So I completely missed it.
The kids saw it. I know. Did you talk to your?
Yeah,
child. They saw like an orange thing.
I don't know what they saw, child.
They had these.
They had their glasses on. They may have saw something. I don't know. But
they said they saw something.
But we could have gone right there up to Dallas and seen the total eclipse.
But they had the same weather we had, child.
Really? It wasn't bright. It was
gross everywhere.
It was gross?
Yeah.
Really? Oh my God.
For the most part, it was overcast, the storm systems moving through. So it was the conditions weren't ideal.
Sucks. Anyway, so I didn't see it.
All right.
I see the pictures.
Yeah. So we'll see the pictures. Sorry, I need my hanky today. Allergy season is still afoot. So today, what are we going to talk about? Oh, my weekend. What did I do?
Yeah, how was your weekend?
It was good. I've been really busy on Operation Redo My Home. So put some final touches on my she shed, which I'm really excited about. I'll get some video hopefully posted to my Instagram. But got to wrap up that. And then, I don't remember. Soccer games, relaxation.
Neither one of us really did a lot this weekend, actually.
Pretty low key.
Did I do anything?
Friday we
On Friday?
Mm-hmm.
We did?
Yes, child.
Oh, yeah, we did. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Look.
Ended.
We ended. And then the rest of the weekend, we were just like,
low key.
Hi. The eyes. What you doing?
You alive?
Nothing. Yeah.
Okay. So today, we wanted to kind of hop on a trend that probably started late last year, but I think is pretty relevant even today. And the question is, what's the conversation that Black people aren't ready to have about anything? But like, what's the harsh truth that we as Black people just have to come to terms with?
I have to have the conversation.
Yeah. So there were a couple of things that we found. And we're just going to throw them out and we'll give our own just thoughts on whether we agree or disagree with these harsh truths.
So remember when Jay was here, she was just like, as Black people, we just do not talk about, we just don't talk about shit. Like, especially bad. Like, that's why this Diddy shit had thrown me for a loop. Because I'm like, we need to keep that in the family, child. But that was just like, he's exposed at this point.
At this way exposed.
He's exposed. But I was just like, girl, you know, Black people, we just do not talk about the silent stuff out loud, child.
We just don't. And we got to work on that.
Yeah.
We have to work on that. But it is what it is. And I think the first way that we start working on that is just by exposing what can at times be the awful truth.
The bulls by the horn, child.
Okay. So the first one let me just put this disclaimer out there. We found these were things that other people said, and some of them are incredibly provocative, but we're going to repeat them. These aren't necessarily our thoughts or our opinions or our statements. They are not our statements, but we're going to share our thoughts and our opinions on them.
Yeah.
So let the disclaimer be what it is.
These are other people's thoughts that we're sharing our opinions on.
But when the reels go onto Instagram, people are going to think they're our opinions. So fuck. Anyway.
Don't they always?
What's the conversation Black people aren't ready to have? Statement number 1.
Lord help. Okay.
We cause most of our own problems. We have caused most of our problems ourselves.
I need context.
So when we think about I'm surmising, I'm guessing what this person meant when they said that. But like when we think about and he said most of our problems. He didn't say all of our problems. But when we think about...
Most is a lot. He didn't say some.
Right. Most is a majority.
Right.
Just by definition. But when we think about where we are and what we have accomplished in comparison to other races and maybe what we still have yet to accomplish, we might be getting in our own way. And if we're getting in our own way... I mean, I have thoughts.
I have none. So go ahead, and if something that you are thinking provokes me, then I'll speak up. But right now, I'm still trying to get context.
I don't think that we, as a people, have caused our own problems. I think our problems were caused when the white man came to Africa and raped and pillaged our villages and took us over on ships. That's what our problems started. Let's be really clear. Now, what we did after the 300 plus years of indentured non-voluntary servitude, if that's our fault, I think that's a foolish thought to have. I think it's important for us to understand, like, we were not given rights. We were given rations, rations at best. And we had to figure out how to do the most with what we had, what we were given, which was limited at best. And I just don't think as a people we have a mindset to look out for each other the way that other races do. And that is, I think that has everything to do with just like how that's just learned behavior that has been propagated for centuries.
Yeah.
And it's more of a survival tactic than anything else.
Yeah.
But I don't think we caused that problem, but I don't think society, and when I say society, I mean government, I mean like institutions that can actually help us do better. I don't think that they have done everything to help all of us, because where you and I are, it's very different than where, other people are. And we've been fortunate to go to schools and to get higher education a couple of times over, and not everybody is afforded that opportunity.
Yeah.
But I don't think that, we're still trying to afford that opportunity, right? Whether in the form of student loans or whatever the case may be. But not everybody is even in a position to be able to self-actualize.
Right.
And so when you think about education and things that honestly are the differentiator, between where you are, whether you make 6 figures or you make 5 figures or you make 4 figures a year, education is the thing that disrupts the playing field across the board. Not everybody has access to that.
Yeah.
So I think before we just say we've caused all of our problems, I think we have to look at the institutional elements that are in place and that have been in place. And when we think about segregation and when we think about voting rights, like, we're talking the 60s that a lot of that stuff was reversed and we just really got rights for. So we still have a generation of Americans that's alive that hasn't had a chance, like that saw when we couldn't vote.
Yeah.
That saw when we had to go to water fountains that were labeled colored, bathrooms that were labeled colored. There isn't enough time there isn't enough time that we've been on the other side of, I feel like, to really catch up.
Yeah.
So I think that's limited thinking. And the same way that other races have been able to amass success, it's a lot because they work together as a community more, but they've also had more time.
Well, more time, and they haven't had the plight that you just described. Like they haven't had slavery, Jim Crow, segregation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And I also think that we help each other, like on a micro level.
Yes.
Like
I
it's
agree.
not communal, like in other ethnicities. Is that the right word? Races. But we do help each other. And pockets. So like, for example, like you work in HR, right? Human resources. And so like, if there's an opportunity, then we're going, because that's why I got HR for in the first place. When I went to grad school, like it was to have a seat at the table to make hiring decisions,
right,
to help people who looked like me. And so I can do that, right? On a micro level, not communal, but definitely a micro. And then like people in Black communities, they help each other out all the time. They, look after each other's children. They, feed each other. They support, drives, food drives, whatever the case may be, for each other. They look out for each other.
Yeah.
But again, micro. And so I don't think that we as a community have figured out like how to support each other at a macro level, where it's just like, it's just kind of like everybody put into the same system that helps everybody.
Right.
And I do think a lot of the inability of us to come together in that way has to do with just the years of tearing us apart. Like, I mean, it's easy to say, what somebody should do, what a community or a group should do. But, to your point, like, there has not been a lot of time that has passed since, Black Americans lived in a complete and total mind fuck, which is the USA, telling you like you're less than, you're worse off, you're different. Exactly. And so even in the Black community, I was reading this book, I forgot the name of it, but it talks about like status and hierarchy even in the Black community. Yep. And so people are familiar with like the brown paper bag test and having to pass that, to be in certain societies, to live in certain communities, et cetera, and how lighter skin was closer to whiteness, so was treated better. Even in the Black community, like they bred with each other. I know Creoles, like they had babies within each other to kind of maintain the light skin, all that kind of stuff. So there's so much generational stuff that Black people have to unpack to get to a place where we are communal on a macro level. Right. But to say that we get in our own way, most of the time, I'll disagree. I'll say sometimes. Yeah. Yeah. But not most of the time. Like, I just feel like we're working against a lot. Yeah. We've overcome a lot, but we're still, working against a lot. Yeah. Generationally.
A lot of external factors, but generational external factors that it's going to take generations to get past, right? Like I think about my mom and dad who are still, thank God, alive and well, but they, I've shared my story, product of migrants from Jamaica. They grew up in a colonized environment, like, or the Commonwealth, right? It was a part of the Commonwealth of Great Britain. Like they had money that had the Queen of England on it. And I think
that was until recently.
The 60s, yeah. Yeah. Jamaica just got its independence in the early 60s. Okay. So, like, that's their experience growing up. And my mom left Jamaica shortly thereafter to come to the States. So most of her time to this point has been in the States. But all of her formative years were in a colonized country. So these experiences are very real and a part of the narrative for a lot of people, just like Jim Crow and segregation is. And so I think it's time, in my mind, that really has to.
I think the new generation is going to carry us forward. Like these new kids.
What did Jay call it? She called it Gen Alpha.
Yeah. Even beyond that, like I think Gen Alpha. So who's Gen Z? I think they're good.
Gen Z's.
Are you Gen Z? Okay, I'm millennial. Gen X. So Gen X.
Barely child.
No, I'm millennial.
I mean, by what? A year?
Baby, don't try to do me. I'm a millennial, okay? Let's be very clear. I'm a millennial.
I have to check the stats on that.
I'm a millennial. I'm not Gen X. Right? Speak for yourself.
I'm on the last year of Gen X.
Okay, well, I'm a couple years into millennial child.
And this is on a couple.
Anyway. But yeah, Gen Z, Gen Alpha. Yeah. And the coming generations, I think we'll be able to tear down some of those systemic barricades. Not just with like Black people. I mean, I think all of these little like white, Asian, like they're so. Not only are they aware, but they're so articulate and well versed in like having and courageous in having the conversations. Openly and publicly. And so I have high hopes that like things are going to continue to go in the right direction. I mean, even for my children, the neighborhood that we live in is extremely diverse. And so my kid just had a talent show last week, and I went and I just saw like all the diversity. And I wasn't taken aback by it, but I was just really like receptive to it because it was nice. Yeah. I grew up in Southeast Louisiana. Everything was Black and white. It was just so segregated. Now, my kids have their little cliques. And obviously, I mean, people tend to click with people that like look like them, for like their own likeness. But for the most part, they are with people who are, who come from diverse backgrounds, who are different races, who have different religious beliefs. Like my daughter knew and was able to talk to me about Ramadan because one of her friends is Muslim. And I was very proud of that because that's what I wanted for my children. So these kids are just growing up in like a completely different time.
They are. And I think, if we can continue to propagate that and support that, we're in a good place. And I'm thankful that my parents had the experience that they had, but I'm also so thankful that I had the experience growing up that I had, and that I'm able to kind of relive that through my kids.
Yeah.
Because for the exact same reason that you examples that you provided, I chose to move to where we moved to because I wanted the diversity. There were plenty of other places in Houston that I could have landed in that made more sense. But when I went to the grocery store, like that's one thing I always do. Like when I look to see where I'm going to live, I go to the grocery store, I go to the public library. What do these spaces look like? Like go to the restaurants in that area before I even make a decision to move there. And when I saw the diversity in the area that we live, I said, okay, I could do this. Like I could push my biracial kids in the stroller at the local grocery store and not be mistaken as the nanny. Yeah. So, okay, cool. There is hope is what we're saying. There is hope, but we've got to acknowledge the fact that we have years, decades, generations worth of intentional division on the race that we've got to work through. Okay. Here's another one. There's nothing wrong with Black men dating outside their race. The average Black woman has too high of an expectation of the Black man.
Girl, don't even. I'm going to go to my phone on this one. Act like I didn't hear you.
Why?
So wait, what is it again?
So there's nothing wrong. So let me contextualize this.
Okay.
What's the conversation that Black people aren't ready to have? And a Black man said that there's nothing wrong with Black men dating outside of their race. The average Black woman has too high of an expectation of the Black man.
Wow. Well,
that sounds like a compliment.
Dr. Umar, come on.
That sounds like a compliment.
Dr. Umar to come and have this conversation.
Okay.
Let me see. I think that don't put that on us. First of all, that's projection. That's projection. Do not put that on us. Like, date who you want to date, but don't try to say it's because our expectations too high. Like that's that's my problem. They try to project and put it on Black women, like, oh, we're the problem. When do what you want to do. If that's what you want to do, do it. You can do that without saying, oh, I don't like Black women because X, Y, and Z, or because their standards are too high or whatever, they don't like it. Like, no, do you and leave us out the conversation.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Okay.
Because I feel like when you have a excuse or reason, or you're trying to explain it or justify it, then you feel like something's wrong with it, right? Like, so to me, that's projection. Like, they really feel like something is wrong with it. Yeah. They really feel embarrassed or insecure about it, but they're putting it on us like it's our fault or we're the reason as to why it's not acceptable or that, they're drawn to women of another race.
Right.
Just BS.
So I think that some of it is just attraction, like what you physically are attracted to. But I think some of this also goes back to kind of the first question, right? Like institutionally, we have a lot working against us. And I'm going to take us back a little bit. If you go back to the 80s and the crack epidemic and the amount of Black men that were incarcerated and the amount of Black women that were left in the homes after that to raise children, Black boys and Black girls. Moms had to work extra hard to be the mother and the father when their dads were not around. And I'm not saying that this was the case all around, but it was absolutely the case in a lot of major cities, and in a lot of Black communities. And, you know, I think a couple of things happened. Black boys probably either learned to love and appreciate their moms for what they did and how they stepped up, or they grew disdain for their moms. And that's a level of hate that's on a whole nother level.
That's deep.
That's a level of hate that's on a whole nother level, right? Because your mom had to show up as the alpha and the omega. Right? And that when you see somebody maybe having to show up that way, is that something that you're attracted to? What?
Shut your mouth.
It's a question. You know, when like your mom is having to check
every day I'm hustling.
Every day I'm hustling. She's having to go to work and then come home exhausted, and has patience, you know, as the size of a pinky toenail, and don't want to deal with you and your shenanigans. And I mean, are you like, is that something like, does that make you attracted?
So mommy issues.
Does that make you attracted to a black female?
Or, you know, proximity. We talked about proximity, right?
Yeah.
So like Terrell Owens, you know Terrell Owens, he's a football player. So he said that in high school, he was called ugly by the Black girls.
Well.
And so that left a bad taste in his mouth because of the Black girls who were not attracted to him and call him black and ugly with big lips. Well, sir, if the Black girls thought that about you, what the hell you thought the white girls thought about you in high school? I'm just saying, like, come on, like, so that's why I say, leave us out of it.
Right. This is not a us
thing. It's not a us thing. It's not a Black woman thing. Like, Black women, we mind our business. We like who we like, and we gonna date who we date.
Right.
But leave us out of the conversation because your reasonings are just, at this point, pure ridiculousness. You know? But as I do believe that as we talk about generational wealth and like building wealth in the Black community to be able to have like that macro support for one another, I do believe that like generationally, you know, say if a Black man is wealthy and he marries someone outside of his race and then their kid marries someone outside of their race, I do think that that generational wealth will then be transferred over to another community, which ultimately takes it from the Black community, dilutes it and takes it from the Black community. And I do think that, you know, that sets us back even further in terms of being able to build generational wealth
and legacy
for the community. So I do respect like the LeBron Jameses of the world who like, you know, has a Black wife and their Black kids, and not to say that his kids are not going to, you know, pass that around, but I'm just saying like, I appreciate, you know, generational wealth being passed on and ultimately staying in the Black community. But yeah, leave us out of that mess. I mean, but you have a unique perspective. I mean, you married outside of your race, and
I did. I married outside of my race, and my kids are half Black and half white. And you know, my reasons for marrying outside of my race were solely rooted in the fact that I loved the person that I loved at that time.
Right. As it should be.
It wasn't like I'm going to use this as an opportunity to kind of climb the socioeconomic ladder. That wasn't the case, Charles. Might have been the reverse. But
opposite.
Wasn't the case. But yeah, I mean, it was very simple for me. It was just like, where does my cup feel like it's full? Where does my heart feel like it's being fulfilled? Where am I the happiest at that time in my life? It was with that person. And so it was very simple for me. It was just like the heart wants what the heart wants. But I do understand the implications of that. And, you know, I talk to my kids and I'm just like, don't you think mommy's the most beautiful girl in the world? Because I want them to like love and appreciate my son specifically, Black women, right? Like I just do. And I'm like, who's your girlfriend? And he's young, so we could play this game. But like, I know I'm probably about 6 months away from not being able to play this game with him anymore. Right. Like, who's your girlfriend? I don't have a girlfriend. The only girl I have a crush on is mommy. I'm like, oh, you're so sweet. But, you know, for me, I want to make sure, like, we live in a diverse community. He's in a dual language program. All of the little cute girls of all races and all ethnicities love him.
Mhm.
And I think that's super sweet. And I think he'll have his pick of the metaphorical litter. But, my hope is that he decides to marry a Black woman when he's ready. And my daughter, I know what she likes. My daughter likes what she likes.
Right.
She likes Black men. So, not Black. Black men. She
But
likes,
I think also
she likes
too,
like the boys that she has crushes on
they're
are Black boys. Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny. Black men. She doesn't like Black men. Anyway,
I'm like, let's be clear.
I think that makes a difference also when the mom is Black.
Yes.
And I know like there's a lot of conversations online with like biracial like children, like I don't want to say products of like interracial dating or marriages, but they talk about their own experiences. And I think that from looking at those videos and just, how, those biracial people identify, it's stark based on who the mom is, whether or not the mom is Black or white. It really does make a difference.
Yeah.
In the mentality and the thought process of a biracial child. Yeah. So that's really interesting.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that your kids are both. I mean, you're very intentional about making sure that they know who they are.
On both sides.
Yeah,
right?
on both sides. Yeah. But even just like Halle Berry's mom, who was white, by the way, but Halle Berry's mom, was very honest with her as well. And it was just like, you're a Black woman and the world's going to perceive you as that way.
Right. Yep.
And so you need to go ahead and find you a Black mentor that can kind of help you navigate this world and society as a Black woman. Yeah. So I should say that. So biracial kids whose moms are Black or the ones whose moms are white and understand that they're raising Black children.
Yeah.
Have different, thought processes than people whose moms are just white and just like, oh, you're biracial, you're just as much white as you are Black. I just think that the mentalities are different.
They're very much so, and I feel very thankful and appreciative that that their father understands that he's raising Black children, because that would be a fight. Because at the end of the day, I always say, if our son gets pulled over, at the end of the day,
he needs to know.
He needs to know that he's going to be perceived as a Black child and a Black boy, and so he needs to have the same conversation that his Black friend is having,
right?
Like Cameron, or the same conversation that his Hispanic friend Alonso is having, with his parents, because at the
that
end of the
privilege
day,
is not going to pass through unless he is in the car with him.
And baby, the way he got my melanin,
right?
It's it's not gonna translate. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have just do one more.
One more. Okay. Yeesh. Okay. 1, 2, or 3. Pick a number.
Oh, geez. Oh, Lord. Okay. 1, 2, or 3. I'm gonna go with 2. Ooh, right. 2. Practice like what? Okay. I saw you too late.
I'll tell you what 1 was and what 3
Okay,
was.
what was 1?
HBCUs are normalizing segregation.
I'm glad I didn't pick that one.
Okay.
Because I don't have time to get passionate on this show tonight.
Right. And 3 was Black people are just as prejudiced as other races. So number 2, which you selected, is Black people are overly idolizing the struggle.
Oh.
So we're leaning, this person was inferring that, and again, these are not our opinions, but these are statements that other people made, and we're just weighing in and giving our opinions on their statements. But Black people are overly idolizing the struggle, meaning we are leaning too heavily on the struggle, is what I believe he meant to say.
What? So Black people
Black people are overly idolizing the struggle. Maybe not leaning in, but we embrace the struggle too much. We love the concept of struggle love. We love the concept of I'm out here hustling. I got what I got because of the,
jobs.
I work hard for this. Like I got 15 in them jobs.
So I saw this conversation on TikTok, and it was saying that Black women are the only group of women that call themselves strong. So I'm a strong Black woman. The conversation was no other race of women say I'm a strong interrace, whatever race woman. We are the only ones that take pride in saying that I'm a strong Black woman, and it just kind of like puts an S on our chest, basically.
Right.
And so I was like, that is true. Like, and strong. I mean, and I think it comes in just like different facets, like whether you be like strong in like a relationship where you're like strong, where you're like taking care of your family, whether you're like strong because you're like a hard working woman working a couple of jobs to take care of some kids, whether you're strong because you're a entrepreneur, you're successful, because you have to grind and get it on your own.
Yeah.
Black women are the highest right now demographic of people and individuals who are going to college, getting degrees, as well as starting businesses. And so
great stats.
Great stats, but Mitch, do we have it all wrong? Because other races of women are born and bred to go to college and meet a husband and not have to work and be a wife and live a soft life.
That's it.
That's it. Where in turn we are, what were we raised to do? Go to school, get an education, get a job, work hard, be independent.
And then maybe find a husband along the way.
After
college, though. Because don't come back home pregnant from college.
God forbid.
God forbid.
God forbid.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think that's interesting that you say that. And I think if I had to really kind of map back, it goes back to what I was talking about in the 80s, right? When women were forced to be strong and independent and figure out how to launch children, right, into society so that they could be productive and contributing members.
Yeah.
And so to be able to do that successfully was a badge of honor. And yes, you're strong, and yes, you're independent, and yes, you were successful in being able to do that, and resilient in the face of all the challenges that you face. Despite it all, you still fill in the blank. So I think that is a generational and a cultural thing as well. But let me just be clear for the record. I am a strong, soft Black woman. Okay. Strong in the sense that, like, yes, I have gone to school. Yes, I have a career. Yes, I make money. But
you can get shit done.
And I know how to get shit done.
Yeah.
But I am also a soft woman who loves to be in the house, turning houses into homes, and specifically mine, and raising my kids. And so I think both can be true. And I think that, as Black women, we shouldn't over-index on the search and be in pursuit of the soft life, because we still have to go back to bringing it full circle to the fact that we have institutional things that are working against us.
Yeah.
Right. And that have intentionally been designed to work against us for centuries. And so, yes, go and get that education. Yes, go and start that business. Yes, go and enter corporate America if that's the route that you want to go. But don't lose sight of the fact that, like, you still can and should be soft, but you can also be self-actualized.
Yeah. I found myself preaching the same things to my daughters. Like, my mom preached to me, like, I mean, it's cute to have like a little boyfriend and all that kind of stuff, but like marriage and like family is not the first point of conversation that I'm having with my daughter.
Right.
It's like, what college do you want to go to?
Yep.
What do you want to be when you grow up? Like, how are you, what's your, how do we improve on your character, right? Like, how do we make you resilient when, there's adversity, right? How are you going to handle adversity, right? So I even find myself now having these conversations with my daughter, which I don't feel is bad. Like, I just don't think it's bad to raise, I'm not gonna say a strong Black woman, but just a self-assured Black woman. I want my child to be self-assured. And then I don't want her to be in a situation where like she can't get out of because she doesn't have the security or the resources to be able to take care of and provide for herself. And so I don't know, I think I would be doing my child a disservice by just grooming her to, you know, grow up and I don't know, just kind of look for a spouse. Yeah. So, but that don't mean necessarily mean like restraint.
Grooming is
like,
such a sensitive word.
It is, but I'm just raising.
Yes.
But to your point, yeah, I think there's balance in that, right? And I think it's important for I guess our young girls to see the balance as well, so they see you, you know, being a wife or having a relationship that's loving, where you're being taken care of emotionally and being treated like a woman and being valued for that, as well as seeing you being able to handle business. Yes. I think that is the happy medium.
I agree. I think one of the best things, one of my favorite things, I hate Mondays, but I love Mondays at the same time. Why? Because I wake up, I work out. My daughter sees me getting ready to go to the gym. She sees me taking her to school. She comes home. She sees me at my computer. Then she sees me shut my computer down and get ready to come and do CWP. And I leave and then I come back and she asks me, how did it go? I think it's amazing for her to see all of the dimensions and elements and of my life and the multidimensionality of it. And my hope is that she's inspired. And like you, I'm having those conversations with her so that she feels self-assured. I'm asking her, hey, she said she wants to start a business. I said, I love that. What's the business? She told me the name. I said, okay, I might want to change the name, but I like the concept. I like the thinking around it. But, you know, how do we get this business off the ground?
Yeah.
How are we able to monetize this business? So I feel like she's seeing the things and starting to, you know, they're landing with her and she's wanting to do that herself.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the goal. The goal is to raise a generation a little bit better than us. And over time, we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
So, which brings us back to the beginning of the conversation with just like how this new generation is going to take us further.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's the hope. That's the goal.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
And we just got to understand that we were stunted for centuries. And so we don't have the same leg up that other communities had.
Yeah.
And so we got to acknowledge that. So yeah, that is really the episode topic.
And I'm gonna just throw something out there. Okay. HBCUs are not perpetuating segregation. I'm gonna just say that right now.
They're not propagating.
Watch your mouth. Whoever said that, watch your mouth. That is not true. Okay.
Oh no. Okay, you know me. I didn't go to an HBC.
I know, but I'm just saying.
But we've had the
conversations. There's nothing else to be said about it, but it's not. It's just
there's a need for those. There's a need for
those universities.
There is. There absolutely is, and there's history rooted in those universities.
Definitely, a lot of history in those universities. There's a need for those universities. I think it's very. There's nothing wrong with a place where you feel like you belong as a community, especially now with, you know, these governors stripping DE&I from universities and, you know, really trying to do away with any DE&I efforts. I think nothing wrong with like going to PWI or wherever you want to do, but I mean, I don't think that going to an HBCU is perpetuating segregation.
It's not
by any means.
No, not at all. And when you think about why HBCUs were created, and if we were just to do away with HBCUs, I mean, you'd be spitting in the face of our own history.
So much rich culture, history, I mean, don't get me started.
I know.
Like, don't get me started. Tradition.
This is probably the same kid who's watching,
just do not get me
a different world on reruns.
Exactly. Which is
based off of Hampton University.
When I saw that, I mean, that had such a huge impact on me. So yeah, so we're not, you guys know, you know my level of passion around HBCUs, child. I won't get into it, but.
Don't do it.
I just need to put my thoughts out there on that.
What's popping?
What's popping?
Oh my
What's popping?
Gosh. Okay, so I have mine. And this is my call to action.
Oh, not a call to action, child.
It's a call to action today. I was on the internet and
sorry, child. I was trying to find out what's popping. Go ahead. I'm listening though. I am listening.
I was on the social medias and this weekend there was an earthquake. And I'm not talking about the earthquake in Taiwan. I'm talking about the earthquake of all these ass cheeks clapping on the internet.
Whoa.
I couldn't even say it with a straight face. There was so much ass clapping on the internet this weekend.
Girl.
My phone couldn't even keep it in my hand.
Right. You're like, whoa, what is this? What was the ass clapping to?
Okay, so I don't know. Everybody had their own song.
Oh, everybody had their own
Everybody had their own song.
Okay.
So I'm a lie. Braxton, you might know, our producer Braxton might know who started it because someone challenged Young Miami.
It is Meg Thee Stallion.
No.
And Glorilla have a song together now.
They do, yes.
It didn't start there?
But I thought someone challenged Young Miami and Young Miami answered the call. And then Meg Thee Stallion, who has this song with Glorilla, she didn't answer the call. She created her own phone line. And Meg had these cheeks.
And Meg shut it down.
Meg let everybody know why.
Girl, the way.
She's called the Stallion.
That was a big, like, baby. I must have watched it like 4 or 5 times.
And
I was just like, how? Just how?
The comments sent me because people were like, Meg, my man's on this internet. Meg.
And people were like, Meg, I'm watching it with my man because, baby,
and
what?
Everyone's answering the call. I mean, and Meg's a busy bitch. Meg, you were in the comments. You were responding to the lay people, telling them to show them yours, to show them theirs. And I love the engagement. But this takes me back to when Tory Lanez, and I know, oddly enough, the connection there, but like he had, the name is escaping me, but he had like this dark hour on Instagram when he used to go live.
Yeah.
And he used to just have girls do that. And I think it's incredibly ironic that like Meg's doing this, but not,
Oh, it's Demon Time.
Demon Time, yes.
Yeah, Demon Time. I remember Demon Time.
Demon Time, child. I remember Demon Time.
Like,
I'm not dealing with society because I'm locked in and Tory Lanez got everybody on Demon Time. And he's like, drop your Cash App. It was crazy. But irony aside, the real call to action here is, yes, it's cute. And I know we're getting lost and we're getting, we're seeing the waves and we're seeing the cheeks. There's just a lot. And I'm always like praying for the underwear. Just stay put, child. But can we do better? Can we do better? Like, I'm not above it. I mean, Lord knows, shit. You know me. I went and requested our favorite song at the place we went to this week. Like, I get it. Like, we all like to have a good time. But when I see that on my algorithm, I'm just swiping and I see cheeks after cheeks after cheeks. I'm just like, as females, like, can we do better? And I know we can. I know we can. And I want us to do better. I think it's fun that we are doing this. But the thing about it is that this type of shit spreads. And it has already grown legs. There are people, Natalie Nunn is doing it. Like,
I mean, I'm not surprised that she's doing it.
I mean, but still.
I would be surprised if like somebody.
But I'm just saying, like, it's spread, and I feel like there's more that we can be doing, and more and better ways that we can be utilizing these platforms that we have. And I'm not trying to be a holier than thou type person because, like, You know, I'm sure there's music we can promote. I'm sure there's causes we can promote. I mean, shit, as Black people, we got to be worried about what Trump is doing. Like, you know,
Girl,
he
and the
is
Republicans,
quietly working his way back into the
he
presidency. But like,
is.
what are the things that we can be doing to leverage the platforms that we have a little bit more effectively, other than just over-sexualizing ourselves?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think this is the wave. And I think that like, maybe you don't want to be in that capacity. You don't want to act in that capacity. And I get it. Like, you don't want to be a role model, but like, I don't know.
See, I just got off. Like, all I saw was Meg's. And that's because, you know, I'm a Meg fan. I love her music. And I saw that she had this new song with Glorilla. And I liked it. And I was just like, oh, yeah. So I went down a rabbit hole, right? And so that's how I got to her page, because somebody on TikTok was just like, baby, I watched Meg video. Like,
they were like, I'm mad at the cameraman.
Exactly. Like, I watched this video. I'm like, oh, let me go see what they're talking about.
And you understood.
So I understood. I was just like, oh. But I mean, that's what she does. Like, I don't expect anything else from her. And yeah, if I don't want to engage, I just disengage.
Yeah, swipe.
Yeah, swipe, or just don't even get on, child. Like, I'm so, like, at this point, trying to free my mind. I have like a little game on my phone that I play. It's just a fucking game I bought that's taking all my money. Like, you know, like if I just really I want to disengage in like social media and really like control what I'm consuming.
Yeah.
And so that's how I got introduced to it. But I mean, I think that you have to have the people that do that to have the people that do what we do. Like, you know, to balance it out. So I just think that, like, you know, not to take anything away from her. Like, she went to college. She has her degree.
Shout out to
She's a
CSU.
smart girl, I believe. But that is a part of her. First of all, her persona as a rapper, and she calls herself Meg Thee Stallion. I mean, and that's just what the fuck she likes to do. I mean, it just is what it is, child. Like,
I know.
You.
Right. The thing is, everybody else is doing it. And it's just like, so again, I'm not the morality police, because we've all been there. We've all done it. Trust me, present company included. I
wouldn't do that. I'm gonna put
I'm not that.
I mean,
but I mean, we've all been there. Like,
I wish I had the courage too. Like, if I had the courage to do
that's
it.
That's another perspective.
That's another perspective. Like, to have the courage to do that. And I don't motherfucking have the courage to do it, y'all. I could not do it. But
I don't have the assets to do it.
Well, I think I like to think I have the assets to do it. When you bend over and like you tune it, you might have a little something.
Maybe.
But I just don't have the courage to do that shit. Like, I would be so embarrassed. But that's just me. I mean, for a little bit, I admire the women who are so free to just put on some booty shorts and like do whatever the hell I would be mortified. Girl, I would be sick to my stomach.
It would go up for a minute and I would have like social regret and delete it immediately.
Immediately. Girl, I would be so disgusted.
I'd be like, oh shit.
Delete. I would be waking up out of my sleep. The anxiety would be waking me up out of my fucking sleep. I swear to God. Like, I could not do it.
I couldn't.
Like,
I mean,
so the level of confidence and bravery, because baby, that shit ain't easy. I couldn't do it. Like, it definitely takes a certain type of person to do it. It ain't me. It ain't for me, but
I get it. And you know, here's my hope. Look, Meg, you've been through a lot of shit, and we're in Houston. You know, we stand hard. You sold out.
Pull up on the show, Meg.
You pull up. Sis, pull up. We got a spot right here for you.
Right.
You sold out your Houston shows. Literally, you had one and you sold out the first show at the Toyota Center in 2 hours.
Oh, really?
You added a second show and you sold it out in less than 2 hours.
So she has 2 shows now.
She has 2 shows now. Oh. Good luck getting a ticket. I mean, I'm not going to be in the building because
well, we saw her at Essence too.
And we did. And you were amazing. And we saw you at Beyonce both nights.
Yeah.
To be clear. So yeah, like I know you've been through some things and I think you have an amazing story to share beyond the beauty and the physical
And the
assets that
body.
you have. And I just think that like you have a fan base that is multidimensional just like you are, and they want to hear that. And when you're ready to share all of that, we are here.
Yeah.
And I know you've done it in your music, but you know, when you're ready to do that outside of your music, this is a great platform for you to be able to do it. But you know, we'd love to hear it on social media as well. We hotties out here.
Right.
We hotties.
And yeah, her age too. Like she's really, she's in her 20s. She's young.
She's having fun.
She's young. And her body is amazing, girl.
She's a free spirit.
Baby.
So, I mean, I get it. So, okay. That's the what's poppin' that I had.
I don't have one. I tried to look one up, but I just don't have one. And we're like over time anyway.
I feel like we did it.
Yeah, it's good.
We're good.
Yep.
So listen, how can they find us?
Go ahead, child.
All right. Champagne Wives at Instagram. Champagne Wives Podcast on Instagram. We have not dropped any clips yet from the last episode.
But we will.
We will.
We will.
Because I really loved our conversation last week about
really
like
good.
school-aged kids and like what we can do for our mamas out there of school-aged kids, what we can be doing to support them and to really help them be successful throughout their academic career. Really loved the conversation that we had with Siobhan. So we'll get some clips out there for you all. So tap into that episode. But Champagne Wives Podcast on Instagram, champagnewives@gmail.com. And you can use those same handles on YouTube and on TikTok. So yeah.
All right.
See y'all next week.
Same time, same place.
Okay.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.